Hi, this is Graham Jeacocke. Now, because I like to draw, but I don't do much of it, you understand and get to know the importance of perspective. Now, when I began to get interested in studying as a hobby, like just interested in knowledge general, I fell into the trap of believing in the importance of being able to think and reason and say, well, because I'm reading this book, I must be getting somewhere. I must be a good thinker, of that kind of mentality. But I was blind and stupid. Now, how does perspective come into it? Well, the Bible, after reading the Bible for a year, you see, to get to know the Bible in depth, I read the whole Bible through every month. And for the past year I've mixed it, been listening, reading, or doing both, and speaking it. But I've decided I'm just going to read the Bible instead, because that's what I'm more focused doing that way. But this perspective, everyone likes to put their mark on what they think something is. So a teacher says to a child, "What is love to you?" Write how you think it is, or what do you think morals are? And any person in this world gets asked these questions, or they may rely on it themselves to find out and inquire about such things. And then they think about it and they become proud and haughty, and they think they've grasped everything. They think because they've defined it, it's relevant and meaningful. But all this talk about, are people moral? This is basically indulgence. This is an intellectual exercise. This is for people at university. This is what they do. It's like writing what's it called? Writing up an essay about magnetism or something, the effects of magnetism. This is how meaningful it is when somebody says, are human beings moral? This is what it's like. It's like writing the effects of magnetism. I mean, it's good to get your little brain cells thinking, but in reality, there's no comprehension of the bigger picture. And the perspective I'm applying when I think about morality is, humans are not moral beings at all. Because when you read the Bible, you find that God created, okay, and God destroyed. Now, unless a human being can create another human being, or even a planet, or even a plant, or even clothes, or even stars, or even rain, when you talk about that person lacks morals, they're basically clueless. Because what a human being is just to be a loving individual. Now, I want to this is a weird one. I've had two people in the past, and at the time I'm not sure, were they taking the mickey or were they being serious. Now the first man went like this, taking the salute, the army people doing it, and are they taking the mickey or is that a sign of respect? And a guy recently has done that to me. He's done this. Now, but I want to apply this to this thing about morality. You see, a person who joins the army progresses through the ranks. Someone starts at a private, goes to a lance corporal, well, I don't know all the ranks, sergeant, and then commander-in-chief or whatever. I don't know. They're all got different titles. But the point I'm trying to get across is each soldier has learnt discipline along the way, that they are submissive to the person above them, and they have to show respect, or they will not get that knowledge that gives them the newer grounds of knowledge and the more authority they have on people lower than them. Now, this is how morality works. Now, God, right, is like the highest ranking member of any army, okay? And we are the soldiers, as it were. And God cannot give us responsibilities unless we know our place. Now, we talk about we are moral beings, we're moral beings. No, we're not. Because we have not begun to focus our attention to what we like to talk about the most, ironically, and that is love. We like to talk about eros, that type of love, because we like to be personally satisfied. But there are other types of love. Now, there's loyal love. Now, a morality. No human is moral. There is no such thing as morality. It is for the domain of God. We have to discipline ourselves to understand love. Because with love, we then begin to understand how love influences morality. And if love influences morality, how do we have the authority to define morality? Because it's like a chemist. If you do not understand the substances you are working with and the exact causes and effects and the properties, you're never going to get very far. It could go could go disastrously wrong. And this is what it's like with morals. And this is especially so with atheists. They like to define things as if it has meaning, but they don't want to apply perspective to it, because that will cause them to question themselves, and they don't want to question themselves. You see, it's funny. Jesus never held a position of rank in any army, yet people followed him. Now that I mean, people like to follow musicians, people like to follow actors, people like to follow writers, people like to follow business leaders, people like to follow sports people, and I could name any subject matter really. You'll have someone who wants to follow, but what they're following is one particular habit of that individual. Now, that particular habit of that individual is not how that individual that's not how the individual goes through life, because that's what how do I say it? That's the end result. You see, who you are as a person in the heart reflects how you do things. Now, an athlete, right? They reflect their muscles and their coordination, all these skills, right? And that's what followers admire. But that has no reflection of who a human being is. That's just one of the what's the word? It's just one of the things a human can do. But what the purpose of what a human does is what it lacks. You see, you don't need to know anything about the heart of a sports person or for that person to be admired, because people are more interested in the wealth of something. I'm not talking about money here. The wealth of that hobby or interest or ability. But here Jesus reflects the heart, and in that there's a change in how he behaves in the world, and that is what causes people to change something in themselves. And we see many athletes changing the lives of people to be healthier. They become better individuals. But that is a misguided form of admiration, because it doesn't address the humane person. It doesn't address the humanity of a person. It addresses the potential It addresses the potential of the how good someone can actually be. That's what it addresses. You see, people just want to be the best, and that's basically what people want to follow. But then they get caught up in all these problems in life, and and you wonder, why do all these sports people, why do all these business leaders, why do all these musicians, actors, any category, why do they have problems in their lives? Because if the followers are following these individuals for their skill, why are they not questioning their actions in life? If they see something they do something bad, they sometimes say, "Well, we'll let you have that one because you give us what you give us." You know they make excuses for them. It's quite ironic because you deny it for people in the Old Testament. Anyway, we are called to be loving. We are not called to be moral human beings. So I'm sick and tired of this discussion that atheists are so interested in. Because if you cannot love, there is no point in you trying to define morality. What's it like? What can I compare it to? I'm going to come back with that one because I don't want to waste any of your time. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Yep. So I'll leave it there. Enjoy yourselves.